There's this high school kid, Yuichi, and he's not rich, not even a little bit. He has to work super hard at a bunch of little jobs just to buy food and stuff. But lately he's been working even extra hard because he really wants to go on a school trip with his best friends. He just barely makes enough money to pay the fees in time, and all his friends are super happy. His friends are a cool bunch. There's Shiba, whose dad has tons of money, Shiho, who's really good at helping out in class, Tenji, the smartest kid around, and Kokorogi, who's just the nicest girl and gets along with everyone. Even though Yuichi doesn't have much money, he feels like the luckiest kid ever because his friends are just so awesome. He wants their friendship to last forever and ever, but guess what? He has no idea that something really big and confusing is about to happen that will shake their friendship all up. One day, during class, the teacher suddenly looked really sad and said something bad had happened. Someone stole a huge pile of money, like 2 million yen, that was for the school trip. Shiba and Shiho were in charge of keeping it safe, but someone sneaky took it from Shiho's locker when she wasn't looking. The teacher asked the thief to step forward, but by the end of the day, nobody says anything. Then for some weird reason, Shiho and Shiba just stopped coming to school the next day, and of course everyone starts whispering, thinking they must have been the ones who stole the money. Yuichi and his friends can't even tell everyone they're wrong because they can't get in touch with Shiho or Shiba either. That evening, Yuichi is busy working his part-time job at home when someone knocks on his door. He opens it, but there's no one there, just a letter. It's from Shiho. The letter tells him to go to school wearing his uniform. So he does, and guess what? All his other friends are there too. But then, a super surprising thing happens. Yuichi realizes he sent those letters to everyone's houses. And just as that thought pops into his head, someone zaps Yuichi with something that makes him fall down, and then they zap his friends too. Lying on the floor, unable to help his dear friends, Yuichi remembers his mom's last words. She always said the most important thing in the whole wide world is friendship. The next time he opens his eyes, he's in a strange plain white room with his friends. Then, a weird doll-like person named Manabu walks in. Manabu tells them they're going to play a game where they'll get money for every game round they finish. He says they owe a gigantic amount of money, 20 million yen, and this game will help them pay it back. Yuichi gets really mad and asks what debt he's even talking about. Manabu just shrugs and says someone among them owes that huge 20 million yen. Tenji, the smart one, asks why on earth they should believe a person who just kidnapped them. But Manabu just laughs and says they're the ones who wanted to play this game. In fact, he's already gotten a 2 million yen entry fee from them. Yuichi's eyes get wide. That's the exact same amount as their stolen school trip money. Manabu does say they don't have to play, but if they don't, they won't get their entry fee back, and that big debt won't be paid. He gives them 5 minutes to decide. Yuichi is about to ask whose debt it is, but Shiho quickly stops him. She says they shouldn't try to figure out who it is. She thinks whoever it is must have been in really big trouble and thought they could count on their best friends. Tenji and Shiba agree. After all, they're best friends. But Yuichi can't help but wonder if friends are really supposed to be there for this kind of trouble. Manabu sees the look on his face and asks if he's, by any chance, starting to think his friends might be bad. Yuichi quickly says no, he just wants to know who's behind all this. Manabu finds that strange and asks, if you did find out who did it, would you just leave that friend behind? He then asks Yuichi what's more important to him, friends or money. Yuichi gets a quick picture in his head of something from his past. After a moment, he says the most important thing to him is his friends. And just like that, the game begins. They're led to a classroom with a famous Japanese game, kind of like yes or no. They get little name tags, and behind each tag is a secret number showing how much of the 20 million yen debt they owe individually. It's just 20 million split among the 5 of them. As they do well in the game, their debt will get smaller and smaller until it's gone. But there's a super important rule: they can't show that secret number to anyone else. If they do, their debt gets twice as big. Before the real game starts, they do a practice round. The practice question is Hokkaido the most northern part of Japan? Everyone knows it's true and moves their little coin to yes. It's correct, but if even just one person chooses the wrong answer, they all fail the game. There are 5 questions in total. If they get just one question right, they win the game. But there are also rules they can't break, or their debt will double. First rule, only the person reading the question is allowed to talk until the game is over. Second rule, if they win this first game, they get 2 million yen and everyone's debt goes down by 400,000 yen each time. But if they lose all 5 rounds, the person who has the biggest debt has to pay everyone else's debt too. Before they start, Manabu tells them they can either win by trusting each other or by being sneaky and forcing all the debt onto one person. And so, the first game officially starts. Shiba is the first one to read a question. He gives a strange look, then asks, is the tallest mountain in Japan Mount Fuji? That's an easy answer, right? But guess what? The coin lands on no. Shiho is about to yell, but Yuichi and Tenji quickly stop her. Yuichi knows there's no way they could get that wrong, which means someone purposely chose no. The second question is 1 + 1 equal to 2? Another super easy question, but again the coin lands on no. Yuichi starts to panic, realizing there's definitely a sneaky traitor among them. The third question is the English word for their country Japan? And again the coin lands on no. At this point, Yuichi feels his heart starting to get a little bit bad, like it used to. Then it's his turn to read the fourth question. He looks at the card and realizes something big. There's no question written there. It's the reader who gets to choose the question. And below it, there are 2 more secret instructions. If the coin goes to yes, they win the game. But if the coin goes to no, only the reader's debt gets cut in half. Yuichi starts to understand all the people who read questions before him were being selfish. They were trying to make their own debt smaller. He wonders if he should be selfish too and pick no. Somewhere in a room full of screens, 2 girls are watching their group, and they absolutely love the look on Yuichi's face. It's full of doubt about his friends. Yuichi asks the fourth question, is a week 7 days long? He decides not to be selfish because as a real friend, he needs to make sure the big debt doesn't fall on Kokorogi, who's the 5th person to read. So he chooses yes, but even then, the coin lands on no. Yuichi is totally freaking out and wonders why someone is trying to dump all the debt on Kokorogi. But maybe, just maybe, if the 5th question is like theirs, then all the debts will balance out. Or maybe the 5th question is different, and Yuichi is absolutely right. So the 5th question begins. This means if they get this one wrong, the game is totally over. Kokorogi asks the 5th question, will they always be friends? As they are all about to choose, Yuichi suddenly breaks the speaking rule. He yells out, asking if they know what color underwear Shiho is wearing today. He tells Shiba and Tenji to say please if they want to know, but he knows they won't, because if they talk, they'll break the rule too, and all the hard work they did to reduce their debt will be for nothing. Then he spills the beans. One of them is a traitor who was trying to dump all the debt on Kokorogi. But he says it won't work now, because Yuichi is the one with the most debt for breaking the rule. So if this game ends, the traitor will be the loser. Turns out, it was written on his card about a secret rule change. The person with the least debt would get the penalty at the end. One of the girls watching, Maria, thinks nobody will fall for Yuichi's trick, but the other girl, Tsukino, tells her to imagine being in their shoes. Picture this. You've done a great job making your debt smaller, and you're about to win. But just as you're about to make the final move against the last person, you suddenly realize that you're the one who's being tricked. This clever trap set by Yuichi won't let the traitor choose no. With a scary look on his face, Yuichi tells everyone to pick yes, and finally the coin lands on yes. They won. Maria wonders who this boy Yuichi really is. To win the game, he paid quite a price by breaking the rule, and he planted a tiny seed of doubt among his friends, making them wonder if one of them was a traitor. Strangely, Yuichi then tells them there's no traitor among them, and he was just joking. He says everyone was just nervous, which is why they lost the first 4 rounds. He asks them about their debt, and Tenji says his is 3.6 million yen after they won 400,000. Everyone else says the same thing. Everyone thinks this means only Yuichi has doubled his debt, but he quickly says his is 3.6 million too. He explains that his debt was doubled when he spoke in the middle of the game, but during the 4th round, he had a secret condition that let him cut his debt in half. So, in the end, after winning some money, his debt is also 3.6 million. But Yuichi knows that even though they're all saying the same debt, they are definitely, absolutely lying. With that, they all head off to the second game, except Yuichi, who stays behind to tie his shoelaces. No way he believes his friends told the truth, so he quickly checks their cards. But as he looks, the ink on the cards starts to disappear. Just then, Shiho comes back. She also thinks there's a traitor among them and asks Yuichi who he suspects. Yuichi doesn't hold back and tells Shiho straight up that he suspects her the most, because she was the one who said they shouldn't talk about whose debt it was. The Shiho he knew would never forgive the thief who stole their school trip money and forced them into this weird game. Shiho apologizes for that, but says the reason she didn't want to talk about it was because she actually thought Yuichi was the one who stole it. Yuichi asks if it's because he's poor and she felt sorry for him. Shiho says no, not at all. The real reason is that she loves him very, very much. Yuichi freaks out and quickly apologizes for suspecting her. Shiho then says there's one more thing she needs to apologize for. Her debt is not 3.6 million, but actually 7.6 million. Yuichi is super confused. If the conditions he got to have his debt were similar for Shiho, then her debt should be 1.6 million. But instead, it's double. Shiho thinks it's because she made that noise earlier in the game. She knows he was trying to protect Kokorogi in the 5th question. but she realizes he was actually protecting her. She promises him she will never ever betray him and that he can trust her. For the second game, they go up to the roof where Manabu explains the rules. In this game, they're going to share all the secrets they've been hiding about their friends in front of everyone watching. The game happens in periods. You go into a private room, write down a secret on a badmouth card, and you can only leave after a 3-minute timer goes off. After all the cards are collected and read out loud, people watching will vote on who is the most punishable. And depending on the votes, the players will move forward on a big game board. To finish the game, at least one person needs to reach the goal. Just like the last game, everyone will get 400,000 yen for each round they complete. But the players who are still on the board when the game ends will get an extra million yen and won't have to play the third round. They get to go home, and the ones who reach the goal first will actually lose a massive amount of money, which will be revealed later. Along with these rules, you can write as many things as you want about anyone. It can be a true secret, like Kokorogi's bra size is G-cup, or even a made-up lie, like Shibi is wearing a wig. But if a lie is found out, the game ends immediately, and the person who wrote the lie goes straight to the goal. You can also turn in a blank card, and if you do, everyone moves one space ahead. But if even one person writes a secret while others leave it blank, the ones who left it blank will be in big trouble. Hearing all this, Shiho gets really nervous, so Yuichi tries to make her feel better. But when he sees this, Shibi gives a strange look and then says everything will be fine. In the first round, everyone turns in a blank card and they all move one space ahead. Then a little message pops up saying players who stop on this spot will lose 100,000 yen. Manabu didn't say it earlier, but besides the special rules, it's just a regular Sugoroku game, like a board game where you move spaces. This means if they keep moving just one space at a time, who knows how much debt they might get by the time they reach the goal. For the second round, everyone yet again submits blank cards, and they move one space ahead. This time they all lose 500,000 yen. Everyone is really worried now. Manabu tells them that all the extra debt they get during the game will be given to whoever reaches the goal first. And so in the third round, finally, there are 2 cards that are filled out. The first one is about Shiho having a crush on Yuichi, and the second one says Shiho was in a relationship with Tenji. Everyone is totally shocked, especially Shibe, because Shibe is secretly in love with Shiho, and everyone in the group knows about it. The votes come in from the viewers, and Shiho is voted the most unforgivable and moves 5 spaces ahead while everyone else moves only 1. A message pops up saying Shiho doesn't win or lose any money for this. Shibe gets really mad at Yuichi because he doesn't like Hao, even though Yuichi knew he liked Shiho. Both Yuichi and Shiho were kind of making fun of him by keeping him in the dark about their feelings. Tenji reminds Shibe that it's not good to be jealous. But then Shibe gets even angrier, asking Tenji who he is to say that when he was dating Shiho. Shiho quickly explains that her relationship with Tenji wasn't serious at all, it was just because their fathers had made a promise to each other. So they were only pretending to date until Tenji's father passed away, and he had to switch schools. They only met again in high school. Hearing this, Shibe asks Manabu if this isn't a lie, and if the person who wrote it should be punished. However, Manabu says it's only a lie if neither of them had any romantic feelings for each other. Shiho didn't, but Tenji actually was in love with her. In fact, he confesses that even now, he still loves her, and that's why whenever he saw Shibe flirting with Shiho, he just couldn't stand him. Shibe gets furious and asks why Tenji didn't tell him in person, and instead wrote it down on paper. But Tenji says he wasn't the one who wrote it. He thinks it was Shibe who got jealous after hearing the rumors and wanted to test them out using the card, because he couldn't handle the fact that Shiho saw him only as a friend. Shibe gets so mad he's about to attack Tenji when Yuichi quickly stops him. On the other side, Kokorogi quietly asks Shiho why all the boys seem to like her. Now that she thinks about it, Kokorogi wonders if Yuichi probably loves Shiho too. In the fourth round, after everyone submits their cards, this time there are 3 filled ones. The first says Shibe used to take baths with his mother until he was in junior high. The second says Yuichi didn't bathe for a whole week. And the third is about Shiho having plastic surgery. The results come out and everyone moves to their respective spots on the board. Shiba believes the card about plastic surgery is a lie, but then Shio asks him, what if it's not? Would you still have a crush on me? Or even be my friend then? Maria, watching, wonders if something like that would really break a friendship. But then Tsukino says, friendships aren't about loving someone no matter what. If you want friends, you always get something from them. He says it could be because you want someone who can make you laugh, or someone who helps you avoid bullies, or you want to hang out with the prettiest girl, or you want to be the smartest among your group. Friendship, she says, is more like a calculation than romance. You don't want friends who don't offer any benefit. Now, looking at it that way, Maria actually thinks it's true. In the 5th round, there is only one card submitted, and this one is very serious. It's about Kokorogi having gone uncompensated dating, which means dating adults for money, when she was in junior high. Everyone is in total shock to hear it. Kokorogi is absolutely crushed to see her dark past spilled out in front of everyone. Kokorogi immediately accuses Shio of writing it, because Shio is the only one who knew about it, but Shio swears she didn't write it. Shiba finds it amazing that someone as innocent as Kokorogi used to date adults for money. Hearing this, Tenji punches Shiba and furiously asks how dare he say something like that about his own friend. Tenji then asks Yuichi to comfort Kokorogi. The results come out, with Kokorogi in first place, moving 5 spaces, while others move just 1 space. At the end of the 5th round, Shio is leading the board at 13 spaces. Kokorogi tearfully tells Yuichi she really needed the money, so she could get away from her bullies. She paid them, and it actually worked. They started treating her nicely. Her family isn't well off, so she had to find someone who could give her the money. She swears all she did was go on dinner dates, wearing outfits he told her to, and sometimes he touched her, but she swears she never went any further than that. Kokorogi begs Yuichi not to leave her, or she'll be all alone again. Yuichi promises her that no matter what, he will never abandon her. Then he whispers something in her ear which makes Maria and the viewers watching super curious to know what it was. Even though Shio said she didn't write it, Kokorogi still wants to stay away from her. A heartbroken Shio is comforted by Tenji. Out of everyone, he knows she's not the type to tell others secrets. Shio thanks him for believing her. In the surveillance room, Maria is getting excited to see their friendship getting all messy. But they shouldn't forget that there's also a sneaky person who is deliberately trying to destroy the friendship in this group. In the first game, the traitor might not have been trying to dump the debt onto one person, but actually trying to break apart the friendship between all 5 of them. And finally, we see the person behind all of this. It's Tenji. He's the one who wants to destroy their friendship. That's why he stole the 2 million yen in the first place. He's also the one who wrote about Shio's surgery. It wasn't just for looks, but to cover a scar on her face that she got in junior high. He's the only one who knew about it. Not only that, he knows everything about Shio, who she talks to, where she goes. The gift he gave her had a tiny listening device inside. He's been listening to her even when Kokorogi told Shio her secret. He just can't wait for all of Shio's relationships to fall apart. And then, when she has no one left, he'll come to her, say sweet things, and completely win her trust. Now that Tenji has messed up Kokorogi's feelings towards Shiho, what's left is to do the same from the other side. He tells Shiho that he suspects it might have been Kokorogi herself who wrote the secret, because this way Kokorogi has gotten closer to Yuichi. Remembering Kokorogi's reaction, Shiho also starts to think so. She believes it's all a trick to get sympathy from Yuichi, and because he's an innocent and sweet boy, he won't be able to say no to Kokorogi's feelings. In the 6th round, Tenji is the first one to go. Now that he started the fire, what's left is to make it even worse. But then he realizes that he's currently in last place with no cards written against him. So to avoid anyone suspecting him, he decides to write something about himself. After 3 minutes, as Tenji comes out, he sees Yuichi slapping Shiho for accusing Kokorogi of writing the card about herself. Shiho warns Yuichi that girls can go to any length to get the person they love, but Yuichi doesn't want to hear anything else. Seeing their relationship getting worse, Tenji couldn't be happier. He goes back to his act and apologizes to Shiho for even suggesting that idea to her. But Shiho can clearly see how Kokorogi is acting like an innocent girl just to get Yuichi's attention. After Tenji, the others also go in to write their cards. After the round, there are 2 cards submitted. First, it says Shiho usually wears men's boxer shorts, and it's clear that Kokorogi wrote it. The second one is about Tenji lying about his age. He's actually 1 year older because he had to drop out of school for family reasons. Tenji begins his act and asks Shiho if she was the one who wrote it. After all, she's the only one who knows that secret. Shiho swears she didn't write it. She begs him not to lose his trust in her. Tenji assures her he won't and says it's probably someone else who wants to blame her. After the results come out, Shiho is in first place, Tenji is in second, and the others are in third. Shiho gets a special chance to choose one person from the group, even herself, and then a secret about that person will be exposed to everyone. Tenji is totally freaking out because if he's picked, it will be revealed that he's the one who stole the money and signed them up for this whole game. Manabu suggests Shiho choose someone she trusts, because then the chance of that person being guilty will be very low and nobody will get hurt. All the trust Tenji has built up is now proving to be very dangerous for him. But just as Shiho is about to pick him, Shiba steps forward and says he'll volunteer to be picked so others can trust him again. After Shiho chooses him, lots of pictures pop up showing Shiba's father involved in many bad things, like having affairs, taking bribes, and currently throwing tons of money around to hide a big scandal he's in. Shiba's totally crushed. Shiho tries to comfort him, saying it's his father's fault, not his. But then Tenji pulls her away, telling her to stay away from people like Shiba. He plants another tiny seed of doubt, suggesting that Shiba's the one who forced everyone to join this game so he could help his father with the money needed to hide the scandal. Shiba swears he didn't do it, but his attempts to rebuild trust totally fail. After the survey with the viewers, the standings are Shiho at 18 spaces, followed by Shiba at 17. In the 7th round, there's just one card, and it says Shiba has killed multiple people. Tenji is surprised because he wasn't the one who wrote it. He wanted to deliver the final blow to Shiba, but for this round, he didn't write anything. He knows if there's someone in the group capable of writing something like that, it's Yuichi. The viewers watching are going absolutely crazy hearing this. Shiba swears he didn't kill anyone, and the person who wrote this lie must be punished. Tenji is laughing because this way, Yuichi will be exposed. However, Manabu then tells Shiba that it's only a lie if he can either prove it's false, or if the person who wrote it comes forward. Shiba has no way of proving it, and swears in front of all the viewers that he didn't kill anyone. But even with that, the viewers find him guilty and put him in first place at 22 spaces. Yuichi comforts Shiba, saying he knows he didn't kill anyone. But then he tells Shiba that there is a traitor among them who is trying to destroy their friendship, and he has figured out who it is. Tenji is freaking out. Shiba asks who the traitor is, but when Yuichi says he can't tell him right now, Tenji feels relieved and is sure Yuichi is just bluffing. Yuichi says that instead of telling who it is, he has figured out how to win the game. He says this game isn't fair at all. At every step, they're getting into more debt than they can get back from the game. And even if they just turn in blank cards from now on, Shiba will still end up in first place and have to pay everyone's debt. But Yuichi says he has a solution for this. In this game, they don't know who wrote what, but what if they made it so they could? From now on, everyone except Shiba will write something bad about themselves. This way, if the traitor writes something else, they'll figure out who it is. It's not a perfect plan, but this way they can stop trying to hurt each other. After the round is complete, as per Yuichi's prediction, there should be 4 cards. However, there are 10 cards. On one side, Yuichi is totally freaking out. On the other side, Tenji can't stop laughing because Yuichi's stupid plan had too many holes in it. Even Manabu tells Yuichi he's pretty dumb for a high schooler. Tenji now asks Yuichi to reveal who is the one behind all this, but Yuichi admits he was bluffing and doesn't know who it is. Tenji just takes Shiho away and tells her that they can't even rely on Yuichi anymore. Tenji is super excited. Just a few more steps and Shiho will lose everyone close to her. For the next 10 rounds, no one speaks to anyone, and the game proceeds exactly as the traitor wanted. By the 19th round, Shiho is in first place again and just 1 space away from the goal. Even if everyone puts in a blank card, Shiho is definitely going to lose. But something seems really strange. Tsukino tells Maria to immediately rewind the video, and when she sees it, she's in shock and wonders who on earth this Yuichi is. Before they go for the final card, Yuichi has something to say. He's found a way for the traitor to show themselves. According to the rules, if any player is found to have lied on their cards, he or she will get the penalty and immediately reach the goal. This is the last round, so they will all write the same thing on their card, with their names on it. There will only be one person for whom it'll be true, and the thing they will write will be "I'm the one who applied to play this game." Yuichi has figured out that the traitor wants to destroy their friendship, which also means the person who signed them up for the game must also be the traitor. So if they all write the same thing, except for the traitor, everyone else will be forced to move to the 3rd game. That's why he had to wait until there was only 1 space left on the board. Tenji is in a panic. He asks how they can prove they aren't the one who signed up. Yuichi replies that the people running the game certainly know who it is. They can confirm it. Yuichi only wants to play the 3rd game with his true friends, and not with the traitor. Yuichi hands the card to Tenji and tells him to go ahead first. After all, he's the one Shiho trusts the most. With a calm look on his face, Tenji goes inside the private room. However, he's totally freaking out inside. He never saw this coming and wonders what he should do. He decides to write what Yuichi told him to, and when he's exposed as the traitor, he'll tell them someone else forced him to do it. He'll get on his knees and cry. Knowing Yuichi, he'll definitely listen to him. After everyone has written, the cards are collected. Tenji is ready to begin his act, but soon finds out that there is just 1 card filled, and it's his, saying he's the one who applied for this game. Tenji is confused and asks what's happening. Yuichi says this was the trap to expose the traitor. Tenji gets on his knees and starts his acting. He starts crying, and as he's about to say something, Yuichi grabs his hair and asks, "Are you the one who applied for the game?" Tenji is scared to see Yuichi's face and admits he's the one who applied. Even before the second game began, Yuichi started setting little traps to smoke out the traitor. And during the third round, when the card said about Shiho and Tenji being a couple, he decided to work with Shiho without anyone else knowing. It was possible that Shiho could have been the traitor, so that's why he tested her first. The first instruction he wrote on a card for her was to expose a secret he told her a while ago, that he hadn't taken a bath for a week. In the fourth round, when the question came about her plastic surgery, it was very likely that it wasn't from her, and he started trusting her more. Next, he wanted to figure out if Kokorogi was the traitor or not. In the fifth round, he told her Shiho was on their side, but he still told her to keep pretending to fight with Shiho to smoke out the traitor. And in the sixth round, he told her to submit a secret that she knew about Shiho, which was about her wearing boxer pants. After that, a card came out about Tenji being 1 year older than the rest, which could only have been written by either Sheeb or Tenji himself. Tenji asked when on earth they were passing these cards around when he was with Shiho this whole time. Yuichi tells him they had 3 whole minutes in that private room, and when the suspects were narrowed down to just Tenji and Sheeb, the special chance came up. Since the people running the game knew who applied to play this game, it would have been too risky for the traitor to volunteer. So, after Sheeb volunteered, the only one left as a suspect was Tenji. Tenji then asked what about his stupid plan he came up with in the 8th round? Well, Yuichi clearly knew the strategy had holes in it, but he just wanted to confirm why the traitor applied for the game. Was it for money or for something else? And when the traitor didn't back off and instead wrote 10 more cards, Yuichi realized it wasn't for money. One thing is still bothering Tenji. Because one person can write as many things as they want, there's no way Yuichi could have completely trusted Shiho and Kokorogi. Yuichi knows that, and that's why he made them prove their friendship. They gave their name tags to him as a sign of trust, even though if he had looked at their secret numbers, it would have doubled their debt. This was the final proof that they weren't traitors. Tenji asks him why he decided to test Shiho first, not him. Because this means he was suspicious of Tenji from the very start. Yuichi explains he knows everyone and their personalities. The Tenji he knows is smart and calm, someone who would break up a fight instead of making it worse. But when he picked a fight with Sheeb at the very start, it was a clear sign to Yuichi that something was off. Now they're back to the game. Manabu tells them that even now, Shiho is the one who will win the game alone. However, Yuichi whispers something to Manabu. After confirming what Yuichi said with Maria and Tsukino, Manabu declares Yuichi the winner, and the game is over. Everyone wonders how this is possible. But in the 7th round, Yuichi wrote a lie about Shiba having killed someone. Shiho is worried and says this isn't how he said they would win the game. She says Tenji did betray them, but Yuichi doesn't have the right to say anything to him. In reality, Yuichi is the one who has killed 3 people. Everyone is in shock. Shiba asks Yuichi how dare he was hanging out with them with that fake smile on his face. Tenji defends Yuichi and says there are difficult situations that can't be avoided. A spoiled rich kid wouldn't understand it. He tells Shiba to worry about his father's scandal. Shiba gets angry and attacks Tenji. Seeing all this, Yuichi says he doesn't need any friends and is breaking up with them. All this time, he wanted to have friends because his mother told him how important friends are. But he's had enough. Manabu warns Yuichi that the 3rd game is going to be incredibly tough for just one person. But Yuichi doesn't care. All he wants is to completely destroy the people running this game from now on. Manabu gives a sneaky smile and tells the others to say something encouraging to Yuichi for his 3rd game. But nobody wants to be friends with a killer. But as Yuichi is about to jump off the roof, Tenji stops him and tells Manabu that he also lied in a game when he said he dated Shiho. But in his entire life, he never had any romantic feelings for her. After this, Tenji jumps off with Yuichi. We take a peek back into Yuichi's past when his aunt, whom he also called his mother, always told him that the most important thing was friends. However, his uncle said it was money, which Yuichi actually liked better. Back in the present, upon arriving at the bottom of the deep hole, they find themselves inside a big cage. Soon, Manabu tells them they're going to stay inside the cage for 3 days with only 1 bottle of water to survive on. After Manabu leaves, Tenji decides to explain why he betrayed everyone. It's actually his 2nd time playing this awful game, and he blames Shiho for it because she stole the most precious thing from him. It all began in junior high. He had 2 best friends with whom he was planning to start a business. He saved up about 1 million yen and wanted to use it to make even more money for their business. Their friendship was great and he thought it would last forever. But then Shiho came along and his friends started acting really weird. They began asking him questions about his relationship with her, and he had to explain to them that his connection with Shiho was just because of their parents' promise. After this, one of his friends made a silly bet: whoever made the first 20 million yen would get the chance to propose to Shiho. Tenji didn't know how serious this bet would become, so he agreed to play along. But then suddenly one day he and his friends were in the White Room, and one of them had a 10 million yen debt. They lost the first game, and since Tenji had the highest debt, he was forced to pay the 10 million all by himself. As a kid, Tenji had to pay with what he calls 10 million yen worth of his life. 2 days later, he was let go after enduring horrible things they made him do. After this, he confronted his friends and found out they both had borrowed the money and had spent it all on Shiho. After Tenji's friends moved away, Shiho started asking him all sorts of questions about his friends and why they left. For some reason, she kept asking and asking what happened, almost as if she was trying to make fun of him. He ended up telling her everything. After this, when he told his father about the game, his dad went to Shiho's father for help. However, the very next day, his father's dead body was found, and it was called a suicide. Tenji knew it wasn't a suicide. It all happened right after his dad went to Shiho's home. Also, the person in charge of investigating the case was Shiho's father. Tenji realized that either Shiho's father or Shiho herself was involved in his father's death. He decided to investigate Shiho very carefully, but soon received an email from someone unknown threatening him to stay away from Shiho, or he'd disappear just like his father. That's why he stole the 2 million yen and signed them up to play the game, so he could corner Shiho and get the truth about his father. Hearing all this, Yuichi feels a little bit bad for messing up Tenji's plan, but Tenji doesn't think so. Tenji asks Manabu their total debt, and it's about 10.8 million yen, which doesn't add up. Taking everyone's debt from the first game at their face value, and adding all the debt they got in the second game, their total debt should be 18.8 million yen, which doesn't match. This means someone is definitely lying. The time Tenji secretly listened to their conversation, he believes Shiho lied about her debt at that time. If that's true, then Yuichi is amazed by her acting skills. But only if Tenji is telling the truth. For Yuichi, Tenji is the one who is ruining the friendship and is the traitor. It's possible everything he just said is a lie, so Yuichi can't trust him easily. Tenji knows that getting Yuichi to trust him again won't be easy. That's why he followed Yuichi here, so he can get revenge for his father's death. Tenji does think Yuichi is a dangerous person, especially since he killed 3 people. But he also knows Yuichi is strong enough to destroy this whole game organization. But when Yuichi refuses to help, Tenji shows his debt amount to him as proof of his trust. He's willing to be used by Yuichi because Yuichi is his last and only hope. Yuichi tells him to stop begging, and asks for some time to think about it. About 60 hours later, that's 2.5 days, Yuichi agrees to help Tenji get revenge for his father's death, but only if Tenji will apologize to everyone when they get home. Tenji agrees, and Yuichi promises he's going to win this third game no matter what. After 72 hours, that's 3 whole days, of surviving on just 1 bottle of water, they arrive somewhere deep in a forest. Soon, Manabu also shows up. Inside the special viewing room, a lady with big melons, that's what she's called, joins Tsukino to watch the third game. Before this, she was watching another group, Group K, and based on how well they played, she bet her group will win this game. The game is called Friendly Hide and Seek. Each team will choose one person, Olhider, who will hide somewhere in this huge forest. Of course, having more team members is usually a good thing, but because of how Group C played in their second round, they deserve this disadvantage, meaning they have fewer people. Now there are some rules. First, you can't hit or hurt your opponent. Second, once the hider finds a spot, they can't move from there. Everyone is allowed to call others using their phones, either their friends or their enemies. There's a food station where they can eat whenever they want, and they can also bring food to their hider's secret spot. If the hider feels like they can't go on anymore, they can press a give up button. And last, if it looks like your team is going to lose, the seekers, the ones looking for the hider, can switch sides to the enemy team. But if that happens, and the new team wins, the person who switched won't go to round 4, and all their debt will fall onto their original team members. Before starting the game, there's a player from another group who has made it this far all by himself. Manabu asks Group C if they want to let this player join them. Tenji is totally against the idea, but Yuichi asks if that person is a girl and if she's pretty. When he finds out she is, he decides to let her in. Tenji freaks out because they can't trust a stranger, but Yuichi knows it would be impossible for just the 2 of them to win. The girl comes in, and it's actually Maria in disguise. She was sent by the game organizers to keep a close eye on Yuichi. But seeing how easily Yuichi accepted a stranger into his team, the Big Melons lady laughs and asks how on earth he's the rumored genius. She says the real genius is in her group, and he'll soon show how amazing he is. Back in the forest, they decide from Group K, their captain is the hider, and from Group C, Tenji is the hider. Both teams get 2 hours to find a hiding spot. After a lot of searching, Yuichi and Tenji are able to find a good place to hide. They don't bring Maria with them, just to be safe. Yuichi knows it's going to be difficult to win with just 2 seekers, but out of everyone, it's up to Tenji how much he can handle the hiding part. He has to keep holding on and make sure he doesn't press that give up button. Tenji promises he won't press it because Yuichi is his last hope to get revenge for his father, and this way he will prove how loyal he is and build trust with Yuichi again. After this, Yuichi leaves. However, even after 2 days later, Yuichi still hasn't come back. Tenji, inside the cave, is wondering what could have happened. There's no sign of the other team finding him either, but even so, he wonders why Yuichi didn't bring him food and water. He starts to wonder if Yuichi has betrayed him by switching teams and is purposely making him suffer for betraying him earlier. Tenji starts to suspect Yuichi is probably eating with that cute girl and laughing at him while he's suffering here. Tenji is about to press the give up button, but stops and first decides to call Yuichi. However, no matter how many times he calls, Yuichi isn't answering. With every passing second, Tenji starts becoming more and more sad and worried. Soon he receives a call from Yuichi. However, the person calling is Kei, one of the members of Group K. Kei tells Tenji about Yuichi's plan to abandon him. He even says Yuichi hasn't even left the food station and has been eating and relaxing with that cute girl for the past 2 days. Tenji is totally crushed. His doubt gets even worse when Kei says he knows Tenji had betrayed Yuichi in the second round, and now Yuichi is getting his revenge. Tenji is about to press the button, but then he stops and thinks for a second why hasn't Yuichi directly contacted him. He hangs up the phone and decides to wait. On the other side, Kei was hoping to get an easy win with this trick, but he knows Tenji will give up soon. After all, they have the perfect plan. We go back to the first day when their captain Juzo came up with a sure win plan. Everyone trusts their captain's intelligence and planning. The plan was, instead of trying to find the hider because no one knows how big this forest is, they will focus on keeping a close eye on the seekers and follow them around the whole time. Because this way, either the enemy hider won't get any food and will press the give up button, or they will eventually find out where the hider is hiding. Chisato and Taro are the fastest runners, so they were given the job of watching the food station. The reason is also because their friendship and loyalty toward each other is the strongest. The Big Melons lady was as impressed as ever and couldn't stop praising their leader. She said their friendship was the strongest because they're on the same basketball team. She was so sure of winning that she even said they would win in 3 days. Back in the present, it has been 3 days since the third game began. The Big Melons lady is still hopeful that Tenji will press the button. However, inside the cave, Yuichi is finally able to arrive. Tenji is so proud of himself that he trusted Yuichi. The Big Melons lady is in shock because she realizes Tenji is seeing things. She can see how much Tenji is waiting for Yuichi, but since the game began, Yuichi hasn't left the food station at all. He has also been accidentally blurting out information about Tenji. She's thinking maybe Yuichi really is planning to abandon Tenji, but there's one thing bothering her. It's Maria's report. Maria only said one thing: Yuichi is even crazier than she thought. Back in the forest, surprisingly, Yuichi tells Group K that he wants to switch groups. The Big Melons lady is surprised but also happy to hear it because if Yuichi joins her team, then their victory will be absolutely certain. Back in the forest, Chisato asks Yuichi why, and Yuichi says it's because he wants revenge on Tenji for what happened in the previous game. As long as one person from the other team agrees, Yuichi can join the group, but if that happens, Yuichi won't be able to go back to his original team. There are mixed feelings among Group K, so K decides to call the captain for his decision. Suddenly, Yuichi starts laughing and asks them if they can't even make such a simple decision without their idiot captain's help. Yuichi is clearly trying to make them mad, and it seems to be working because Taro is now furious. He can't hear any bad things about their captain and is about to punch Yuichi, but Kei stops him and reminds him about the rule of no violence. Kei can clearly see what Yuichi was trying to do. After calling the captain, he tells them the captain has decided Yuichi will not join their team because even without him, they will definitely win. But if Yuichi still wants to join, Maria will also have to switch, so this way Yuichi won't be able to play any tricks. Maria can see that Group K's captain has already figured out Yuichi's plan. However, Yuichi had already predicted all of this. 2 days ago, after Tenji had hidden, Yuichi shared his plan with Maria. For the next 2 days, they decided not to do anything and pretended they had no desire to fight Group K. And on the third day, he would try to switch sides. Obviously, he wasn't going to betray Tenji, But if he was able to switch, he planned to find out Group K's hiding spot and tell her. But he also knew the chance of this happening was very low, because Group K had probably figured out the sure way to win the game. But in order for him to win, he demanded Maria's complete loyalty. Maria was getting excited and swore she would be loyal. After this, Yuichi shared his full plan, and on hearing it, Maria couldn't believe how crazy this human was. Back in the present, Yuichi refuses to switch teams along with Maria. These 2 days, even though Yuichi didn't take any physical action, all this time he was having little chats with others to understand their personalities and weak points. The following day, Benri and Kei are on their way to deliver food to their captain, while others are keeping an eye on Maria and Yuichi. After Chisato goes to check on Maria, Yuichi starts talking with Taro, complimenting him on how good his teamwork is. Knowing that Taro has huge respect for his captain, Yuichi praises the captain, and just as he expected, Taro gets really happy to hear it. But then Yuichi asks him, "Why are you playing this game?" Because he says this means one of them has a big debt. Taro had never really thought about it before, but just then, Chisato comes reminding him that discussing whose debt it is against the rules. After this, their roles change, and Taro goes to keep an eye on Maria. But when he gets there, he's shocked to see she's not there and goes to find her. When he finally finds her, she's undressing. Taro's face turns totally red. He runs away from there and tells Chisato he can't do this job. Seeing this, Yuichi signals Maria. He starts running, and Taro immediately chases after him while Chisato goes after Maria. Soon, their paths merge. Chisato and Taro are confident in their running abilities. But then, shockingly, Yuichi pushes Maria off the edge of a cliff. Inside the cave, as Tenji is about to press the give up button, he asks himself, what will change even after I press it? He tells himself he has to trust Yuichi no matter what. And then Yuichi finally comes. He gives Tenji an update on what has been happening. And the reason Yuichi didn't tell Tenji the plan from the very beginning was to test his loyalty. And now, he can trust him again. For his next step, Yuichi shares that from now on, Taro will be the most important piece in his strategy. After thinking about Taro's personality and how he gets along with others, Yuichi realizes that Taro is a hot-headed person, but also kind and respectful towards women. This makes him the best tool that will help Yuichi in destroying Team K's friendship. On the other side, Taro grabs Maria's hand, but because he's not strong enough to pull her up by himself, he asks Chisato for help. Chisato wants to follow Yuichi, but because he always agrees with Taro, he decides to help and successfully lifts Maria. With this, Maria begins her act. She thanks Chisato for saving her, but when he tells her it's Taro whom she should thank, she gives Taro a fierce look and says he was peeking at her while she was about to bathe. Taro swears it was not on purpose and apologizes quickly. Maria laughs and tells him she was just joking. Taro feels much better, but seeing her scared face, he gets really mad at Yuichi. As they walk back to the food station, seeing her leg is hurt, Taro gives her a piggyback ride. After explaining the situation to Kai, soon after, Yuichi returns. He furiously orders Maria to come to him. Looking at Maria's terrified face, Taro warns Yuichi to stay away from her. But when Yuichi refuses and says Maria is his property, Taro is about to hit him, but then Maria quickly steps in the way and warns Taro about Yuichi's plan to get him disqualified. And then Yuichi grabs Maria's hair and yells at her for messing up his plan. Even though there's hitting, it's within the same team, so it doesn't break the rule. Taro insists Maria switch teams, but Chisato stops him. He suspects something is strange about this whole situation. He has quite a bit of experience dating girls, so he has a feeling Maria is just acting. Taro gets mad and tells him he doesn't want to hear from someone who lives an easy life on his father's money and messes around with girls. Chisato doesn't like this at all and tells Taro a person who hasn't popped his cherry, meaning experienced certain things, won't understand when he's being fooled. Taro grabs Chisato's shirt, but then Kai stops them and says they should ask their captain before making any big decision. Using this chance, Yuichi again tries to make them mad for asking their captain even about whether to protect a single girl or not. And just like he wanted, Taro stops Kai and insists on talking to the captain by himself. After Kai and Taro leave, Yuichi is happy with how his plan is going. As per his plan, Group K will not allow Maria to switch, but this will only make Taro want to switch his team to protect her. And once that happens, Yuichi has many ways to find out the captain's hiding spot. 30 minutes later, just as Yuichi planned, the captain refuses the switch, and Taro goes against his friends and decides to join Group C. Even after switching, Taro swears he doesn't plan on letting Yuichi win and will still help Group K win this game. The moment Yuichi accepts the switch, Taro goes straight to attack, but Yuichi easily blocks him and shows him how much stronger he is. After tying him up, Maria thanks Taro for doing this for her, but she warns him that Yuichi will do everything possible to make him spill the captain's location. Even if Taro wanted to tell them, he can't, because he doesn't know where their captain is hiding. Yuichi, hearing this conversation, is in shock. Somewhere inside a cave, we finally see that the real smart person leading Group K is not their captain but Kai. In the surveillance room, the big melons lady is laughing at seeing Yuichi's confused face. Instead of taking Taro straight to the cave, Kei had stopped halfway and let him have a phone call with the captain. Yuichi didn't think much of it at the time, but now remembering back, he figures out that the real mastermind is Kai, who was controlling every single thing. He calls Kai and says he knows Kei's secret identity, but Kei is just laughing because the moment Yuichi took Taro into his group, Yuichi lost the game. Kei, the man who was secretly pulling strings and making Gyuzo do things, is a super smart kid who only decided to play this game because he was bored. Yuichi is panicking because this is the worst thing he could have imagined. Now that Taro is in Group C, he can attack anyone in Group K and they'll lose immediately. He has tied Taro up, but now they would have to watch him 24/7. He thinks they should hide Taro immediately, but then Chisato and Banri come. The next morning, as Maria goes to pee, Kei stops her and asks if she's from the management, the people running the game. For the 3 days they stayed in the cage, they were given food based on how many team members qualified. And considering Group C had 2 people but was only given water, he finds it hard to believe that a single member wasn't starving at all. Maria is amazed he figured it out and asks what he wants. Kei wants Maria to betray Group C. He says even without her help, they will definitely win. But he wants to finish this game quickly because he's getting bored. And since she's not a player, by joining his team, he promises to show her Yuichi's pathetic face when he loses. Maria is indeed excited. Soon after, Yuichi receives a call from her asking about Tenji's location. She says she's alone and thinks she can deliver the food to him. Without thinking too much, he gives her the location. But then she goes and tells it to Kei. Yuichi is devastated to see this. Without wasting any time, everyone rushes to search for Tenji. After hours, Tenji receives a call from Kei, who again tells him how Yuichi is planning to do something evil. Tenji isn't going to be fooled and yells at him, saying he trusts Yuichi. But then Kei enters the cave and finds Tenji. Soon after, Manabu declares the game is over. Everyone gathers and the winner of the 3rd game is Group C. Everyone is in shock. Kei, in a panic, says they're the ones who found the hider. It's indeed true, however, that's not the only way you can win. Earlier in the day, after everyone left, Yuichi stopped pretending to act and went back to his plan. Yuichi called the captain of Group K and told him to press the give up button. Obviously the captain refused, and then Yuichi threatened to punch Taro. The captain thought Yuichi was just bluffing. Even when Yuichi kept beating Taro and the sound was coming through the phone, the captain didn't trust it and asked to have a call with Taro. But when he heard Taro's voice wavering and scared, the captain began to worry. And then Yuichi decided to go even crazier and threatened to break Taro's fingers. He heard from Taro how there was an upcoming basketball tournament and Taro had practiced a lot to impress his captain. But if he doesn't have any fingers, his game would be over. The captain was furious. As Yuichi started counting down, the captain still thought it was a bluff. But then as the countdown hit 0, he heard a snapping noise. It was a similar noise he could never forget. After all, it had cost him his own tournament. The captain got emotional and apologized to Taro. And when Yuichi was about to break the 2nd finger, the captain finally agreed to press the button. Back in the present, the captain apologizes to everyone for pressing the button and keeps hitting Yuichi for what he did to Taro. But Taro stops him and reveals it's Yuichi who broke his own finger. In the middle of all this, Kei is furious and calls the captain useless. He asks why he has to lose because of someone else's stupidity. But then Banri, his older brother, comes and scolds him. He says if the captain hadn't pressed the button, they all would have lost respect for him. After they leave, it's revealed that Yuichi knew from the very start that Maria was from the management. For someone who was supposed to be a normal student stuck in this game, she followed his difficult instructions without any complaints. Now, he wants her to tell the management that he is going to completely crush their organization. After Maria leaves, Tenji is glad to see that even though Yuichi said he would destroy their friendship, he still didn't. He knew Yuichi is a good man. However, this isn't true. If the captain hadn't pressed the button, Yuichi definitely would have broken Taro's finger. For winning round 3, both of them are allowed to go home. But until round 4, they aren't allowed to tell anyone about the game, or else someone close to them will be in big trouble. They are released the next morning somewhere in a park. From there, they go to school and find Kokorogi. She gets really emotional and tells them that both Shiho and Shiba have stopped coming to school. 1 week earlier, after they finished round 2, when they returned to the school, everyone suspected Shiho and Shiba were the ones who stole the money. To defend himself, Shiba was about to tell everyone it was Tenji, but Shiho quickly stopped him, or else he would have talked about the game. So to pay back the money, Shiba promised to return it with his father's help. However, after 2 days, Shiba's dad was arrested because someone secretly told everyone all his scandal information. And after that, everyone started bullying Shiba for his father's bad actions. Shiho tried to stand up for him, but then she too stopped coming to school. Yuichi figures out that to get the money, Shiba probably told his father about the game. He decides to meet Shiba and goes to Shiba's house, but there he sees that Shiba is being arrested for killing his father. And as Shiba is about to tell Yuichi something, Shiho's father stops him, and before leaving he threatens both Tenji and Yuichi to stay away from this matter, if they care about their loved ones. On the way, Kokorogi catches up with them and asks about Shiba as well as what happened in Game 3. However, instead of telling her, Yuichi asks, "Why would I tell someone who looked at me with disgust when it was found out I was a murderer?" Kokorogi was indeed scared when she heard the truth, but she still waited for them. However, Yuichi calls her a burden that he doesn't want for further games. He tells her to get lost and leaves. At home, Yuichi believes this is the best way to keep his friends away from the game, as people's lives are on the line. Just then, Tenji receives a call and it's from Manabu, calling them for a special game. It's optional, but if Yuichi doesn't come, Manabu threatens that something bad will happen to Kokorogi. Yuichi agrees to come, and upon arriving at the location there are a lot of people, as well as the person who pretended to be Manabu. His name is Kuroki and he's the leader of this group. Before getting into the rules of the game, he roughly rips off Kokorogi's shirt. Yuichi gets furious, but Kuroki stops him. With that, Kuroki begins to explain the rules. The game will have 3 rounds of torture that Yuichi has to go through. If he can handle the pain without giving up, both he and Kokorogi are free to go. However, there's a way to make the pain less bad. It's up to Kokorogi whom she wants to send to endure the pain. If she chooses herself, she will receive 3 times less pain than Yuichi. In all of this, both of them aren't allowed to talk. It's a game to see how good their friendship really is. The first round is to be hit by a big strong guy named Goriki. If Kokorogi chooses herself, she will only get 1 hit. But if she chooses Yuichi, he will get 3 hits. But considering Goriki's enormous strength, Kuroki warns Kokorogi that just 1 punch is enough to ruin her beautiful face. As the countdown begins, without saying a word, Yuichi signals Kokorogi to choose him. Kuroki says from now on, moving is also not allowed, but for this round he let Yuichi be beaten up. After taking 3 punches, Yuichi is still standing. For the second round, Kokorogi promises she will be the one to endure the pain. But when she finds out it's about losing fingernails, she ends up panicking and picks Yuichi. As a result, 3 of his fingernails are taken off. While dealing with the pain, Yuichi asks everyone why they are following this idiot and pervert leader when Goriki is way stronger. Kuroki laughs and says leaders aren't always the strongest, but the ones who are the smartest, like him, they are the ones who have everyone's respect. For the last round, if Kokorogi picks herself, she has to take off all her clothes and dance in front of everyone, while others will touch her. But if she picks Yuichi, he will be stabbed 3 times in his hand. Kokorogi knows it's something she can do, but she still ends up choosing Yuichi. As a result, he gets stabbed 3 times. Finally, the game is complete, and both are allowed to leave. Kuroki laughs at their friendship and tells Yuichi that girl can't be trusted as his friend, but Yuichi is not going to blame her. He's not childish enough to forget that the reason for all this suffering is Kuroki. Kokorogi hugs Yuichi. She tells Yuichi she's not afraid of him anymore. Yuichi comforts her, and after giving his jacket to her, he suggests a second game. If he loses, he will give 10 million yen, but if he wins, Kuroki will lose a finger. It's 1 round of rock, paper, scissors. The rules are, if Kuroki picks paper, he will lose 5 fingers, and if he picks scissors, he will lose 2. But if he picks rock, he will lose nothing. And there's a clear advantage to Kuroki because Yuichi can only pick paper and rock from his right hand. Despite this, Kuroki refuses. He doesn't believe Yuichi can have so much money. But then, Yuichi asks Kuroki if he thinks he's the smartest, then he probably researched Yuichi's family background and knows how rich he is. Kuroki didn't say no but agrees, saying yes, he did. After this, Yuichi makes the winning amount even bigger and says that even if the game ends in a tie, he will pay the 10 million yen plus an extra 1 million yen to everyone here as a bonus. Everyone starts to get excited and tells Kuroki to accept the game. Kuroki ends up accepting and starts thinking about how he can win. Knowing Yuichi can only throw rock and paper, he figures out that Yuichi wants him to choose rock because it's a no-risk option. However, he will go for paper because even in this situation, the worst thing that could happen is a tie, in which he will still win the money. As the round begins, Kuroki throws paper and Yuichi chooses scissors. Kuroki freaks out and says that wasn't agreed upon, but with a sneaky smile, Yuichi reminds him he never said he would only use his right hand. Kuroki gets furious and orders his guys to tie up Yuichi, but then members of the game management start entering the warehouse. Kuroki tries to attack with his full strength but is easily taken down by Tsukino. Soon Tenji also comes. He's the one who called the management because Yuichi had a bad feeling about this whole special game from the very start. As Tsukino is about to tie up Kuroki, Yuichi says there's something he has to do. It's about the game, and the punishment for losing is 5 fingers. Kuroki is about to run, but Tsukino steps on him and tells Yuichi to finish it quickly. Before cutting them down, Yuichi makes a scary face and starts playing with his fingers, making cracking noises. He gives an option to Kuroki: either pick himself and lose 5 fingers, or choose one of his followers who will only lose 1. Hearing this, Kuroki is much relieved. However, no one steps forward. Kuroki gets furious and yells, "It's just a single finger." But soon, Yuichi collapses due to blood loss. The Big Melons lady comes in, worried, and immediately calls for an ambulance. Now that Yuichi is out for some time, for the 4th game, the others have to play and save Shibe from his father's huge debt of 500 million yen. This is where a video comes to an end. Subscribe for more anime recaps.